Alright, over the next few days, do you want to come with me on a little journey of golf swing discovery? I've got a few things I want to show you, a few things that I've tried, and we'll talk about how, I think the moral from this video will be, hopefully what you'll get from it, how difficult it is to change your swing, how difficult it is to change your swing and play golf, how difficult it is to add distance. I'm going to try and add distance to my swing. I'm going to use my Swing Catalyst to show you some data captured with Justin Rose and other players, to see if I can push my distance on and what I would need to do that, and show you how easy or hard that is. It should be a fun journey. What I want you to do is look at how some of these players use their feet. Look how they use certainly their left foot. What it does is they come down and hit the ball and post impact, those kind of things. There's a real pattern in all of these players. They're powerful and they're using the ground in a way that I just simply don't. I would call myself pretty much a glider on the floor. I'm not really pushing that much at all. I'm kind of my forces on the floor are quite neutral. I'm trying to do little, trying to restrict movement to try and make strike and everything perfect and accuracy. Well, maybe I'm getting that wrong, and I should try and get some aggression through the ground to show you what I can do to kind of increase my speed when I start pushing on the ground differently. Look, let's go to the Swing Catalyst and show you what we can learn from some data captured on how people are pushing on the floor for gaining distance, and then we'll go outside and see if I can do it. Let's take a look at Justin Rose's golf swing here. I want you to just draw attention to this trace. This is how his feet are pushing on this mat. It's the pressure. And this is obviously the right hand swing. And I also want to just draw attention to this peak here and see how much bigger this peak is here. So what we're going to do, if we just take Justin up to the top of his backswing, with both swings, you're going to see that he's more in the toe and certainly left toe on this right hand swing, where he's much more even, almost a bit more in the heels and the toe of this left hand swing. Now the right hand swing here, he gained 30 yards doing this slightly different pushing into the ground on his left toes, loading up in his mind, feeling on the backswing more in the toes of both sides. So heel and toe of right foot and toe of left foot. Now as we start the swing down, what we see is the trace moves much more diagonally up into the toes as he loads on the downswing on this right hand clip, where on the left one it's more linear. Again, he's moving more into the heel of that lead foot, his left foot. And we get to the peak of his vertical force halfway down on the downswing. You can see that it's not into this grey bar here on the left hand swing. These are the tour averages, where he is now starting to increase his vertical force on this downswing by pushing more out into his toes and then back, rather than loading more onto the heel. So let's get outside, and I'm going to play with the idea of lifting left heel, starting downswing, pushing down on my left toe and actually pushing forward with my left toe, and then watching that hip spin out. Let's going to show you what I mean. So I'm going to do 7 irons at my normal, very connected to the ground speed. So we're going to compare speeds, but we're also going to compare accuracy as well, because I don't want to trade too much. So this first batch is going to be 7 irons, but very much like in my controlled way I was taught to play, really. Bit heavy, that one. I'm still trying to hit them, you know, a decent speed, not super soft. Caught that one out the bottom, so it is shorter. But I feel like this mat on the ground isn't really moving. It feels like I'm very connected, very safe, very deliberate. Everything about delivery is controlled, basically. Right, one more and then we'll give it some. Right, that felt decent again. I'm gonna find target all day long with that. So let's flick the data over, and I'm now gonna give it some front foot, lead foot, jumping and sliding. So I'm gonna make a backswing where I really feel like I'm pushing into the toes of this front foot. So I can feel there's still pressure on my right foot. If you saw me on the traces, there would, but it would be much more on the toes. If anything, that left heel slightly coming up. And then as I come down to hit the ball, I'm gonna really push. Basically, I'm gonna feel like I'm pushing the mat this way with my lead foot really out in front of me, which will make my left foot probably jump back a little bit. See what it does to any of the speeds. Yeah, you can see my left foot just after jive out of the way there. And look what's happened to the mat. because this mat isn't fixed to this ground, look how much I've turned it. So we're going to get a few misreads here because the ball will move maybe at the wrong time. So we might get a few non-reads. Oh, it does feel stronger. I'll be interested to see the speeds. I can see the numbers are up a fraction. Again, look, I've twisted the mat. So the way I'm interacting, the way I'm pushing on the ground and the way it pushes back at me is forcing my hips, my body to spin at different speeds, which hopefully I can translate a bit of that out onto this. To make a backswing where I feel like I'm loading here as well feels so counterintuitive to everything you think you should do on a backswing. It's interesting. Oh, that feels strong. Oh, we didn't read that one. Look, I've moved the mat so much. All right, let's do another. That's a shame. That felt beefy, that strike. Again, that feels strong, and look at it, the number is so much bigger. And that accuracy isn't really being lost. Again, look how much I've moved the mat, barely moved it on my first shots. I'm going to do one more. So again, pushing down lead foot as I make my backswing, lifting heel slightly, still putting pressure on the right foot. You wouldn't want your finger under there, but I feel it under this toe more than I've ever felt it. And then to start the downswing, I feel like I push down into the mat, and then I literally feel like I'm pushing this foot that way as hard as I can, which gets everything going back that way, because as I push against that ground, it pushes against me, back at me, and makes things move. And this is a move you just see with the long drivers. Again, didn't get it. And that feels so much stronger than I've ever hit it. Right, one more, or we'll take the data we got. Get that one. Yes, it did. And that feels longer. Should we go and look at the numbers? And can I hit target like that as well? Might need to nail this mat down. So let's look at my numbers. I've got two misreads in here, which you'll see are deselected. So I'm 151 yards when I'm hitting my normal swing. And then when I started to lift left heel, load left heel, then try and jump out of it, I went up to 160 yards, longest being 164, 7-iron. That's 7 yards longer, that's a club longer. Ball speed went up, 118 topping, 119 topping compared to 114 here topping. Averaging 116 to 111, so that's 5 mile/hour ball speed increase on average on just little data set. And then club head speed, look how it jumps. It's 86.7 up to 90.3, 3 to 4 mile/hour club head speed in a 7-iron increase when I swing this way. So there are definitely gains there. The big question, I guess, is would 7 yards really make any difference in my performance through the set, hitting into greens, compared to if I lose any accuracy? Now, these are the strikes when I'm trying to really launch into it. Not bad, one very mishit, but quite centered. And what's quite funny, these are my strikes when I'm trying to actually control my feet position. And that is me all over, a bit toe in, a bit out the bottom, always on the weaker side. So always hitting my distance kind of medium to short, not my distance medium to ever long. Kind of little finny ones onto the front of the green is how I've always played. So arguably there, jumping has helped my strike, it certainly helped my distance. It's something to consider. And if we look at dispersion, I'm averaging 11 right when I'm jumping at it, and then I'm normal, I'm averaging 9 right. So on average, it's a fraction straighter, but then I have got a 20 right in there and a 0 left, where everything went one way, more to the right, with the jumping foot. Looking at those numbers, I would be tempted to take that onto a golf course and see what it does. Extra 7 yards, that extra club into green where D-plane can help me, is something I would really consider using on a golf course. Should we see what happens if I do it with a driver? Let's try it with my driver then. So first batch of shots I'm going to hit very much in my normal style, trying to find fairway, still trying to hit it, but like no real pressures in the ground, just trying to be glidey along the floor like I kind of normally am. can hit that pretty solid. Swing fast than that, I think, though, nice and straight. It's very interesting now. I'm really concentrating on my feet on the ground. It's hard not to just push all the time. So I tried to hit that harder, but not really pushing hard on the floor. Good numbers again. Nice and straight arrow. I feel like I'm going to hit 5 or 10 arrows here, and then the jump swing's going to have no chance, isn't it? Yep. This action is me all over, you know, it feels safe, secure, it feels like I can just kind of hit the ball straight, find it, hit the ball straight and find it all day long. Kind of courses I grew up on. This was a massive weapon, but golf kind of ran off without me, didn't it? And it's now not really a big enough weapon. Oh, not hitting the face by the tee, it's quite funny. Again, look at that. That is 4 arrows, isn't it? One more then. I mean, that's a go-to shot still, isn't it? A little bit right, that one, but it's not long, but it's just so safe. Right, so pushing left foot, left heel up, and then trying to get out of that left foot as fast as possible. What have we got? Feels so much faster, and it's wild and short with a lot of spin, that one. See if I can get more ball on face. Again, strike wasn't there. Distance is a bit better, mind. So we will look at the strikes, because I think it will be a massive element of what's going on, which will lead to me either going to safe land or choosing to practice more. It'll be training, won't it? Oh, my left foot went then. God, I'm losing these to the right, and that doesn't feel that way. That can't be going right. Yeah, that's gone where I expected. More left, and that now is a bit longer. Let's see if I can work strike in, because I don't feel like I've got equivalent strikes yet, apart from that last one a bit more. Again, that was heely. Good for a heel though, that. Right, one more, and then we're going to look at numbers. I'm going to look at strikes very much. I want to see if I'm picking up club head speed or not, because then there are the potential gains compared to is my delivery is something I can improve, speed is something I need. Again, weak strike, but not bad for a weak strike. Let's go and check these out. Driver numbers. 259 average carry compared to 255. So not my longest by any means or in any terms at all. A 268 in there when I jumped and everything comes together, compared to the longest of when I'm really gliding, hitting fairway, 256. So like 4 yards with the driver on average, compared probably to where the ball might go. So if we look at my groups of strikes, that's my group of strikes when I'm gliding. Like, look at that's better than my 7-iron. It's crazy, isn't it? And then this is my group of strikes when I'm trying to jump. So the variations in distance that we see when I'm trying to jump, 255 up to 268. Sorry, or 250 up to 268, that's 18 yards difference compared to 253 up to 256. Look how tight it was when I was gliding or not being aggressive, doing my safe swing. So maybe there's an argument for both swings. I mean, the club head speed is undeniably quicker. 111 is the fastest I've ever swung with a 112 in there when I'm jumping, compared to my fastest at 108, averaging at 107. For my extra club head speed, if you can get strike, if you can get launch, if you can get spin staying quite similar, launch a fraction higher, the ball goes averaging higher on my jump swings, because again I get that high heely strike that just goes up and away. It shows potential, doesn't it? That would make me very nervous on a golf course where I would feel I would go 1 step forward on one hole, I'd go 3 back on the next 3. And there lies the balance, isn't it? That kind of trade-off always, compared to how much I can learn, how much I can improve, compared to how much I actually want to practice it. Because I've got a full-time job and a family life and the rest of it. I think if you give me this information at 14 and 13 when I'm just doing golf, yeah, all day long. Will I do it when I play? Well, I'm not sure yet. Post comments down below, do you want to see me try and play golf like this? I can do it in the sim, and when we open up again, we can go out there and play. It leads me back to what Jamie Sadlowski told me at the start of the year when I interviewed him about distance. If you could make some of those 268s your shortest hits, and then maxing out at 280s, I would see an advantage here. And the way I'm going to do that is by training this technique and homing that strike back in with a new technique, which is a long haul big journey. Or there's another option. I guess I could just get fitter and stronger and use the technique I've got and raise those numbers up, but probably not going to do that. That's like, you know, down in that comment section down below, how many of us do the fitness we should do it? That's hard, isn't it? I feel like this isn't over. I love what I'm learning. This is information I can use for students. Pushing on that ground is definitely transforming how much speed I can get through that club. I reckon that combined with fitness, obviously you can see where the modern players get where they get. Let me know, is it something you would consider working towards? Is it something you've ever tried or not? How long do you reckon it would take me? You know, how many actual practice sessions would it take me of getting that strike the same as when I glide compared to when I lift left heel, push down on the toes and then get pulled out of it? What do you think? I'm going to keep practicing it and I will play some golf like this. I would struggle to feel like I would ever want to compete like this as we are now, because I just think I would need loads of practice to get it to work, and that's not a place I'm really in anymore in my life. That was a fun video. Let me know what you think down there. As always, thanks for watching, keep safe, and we'll speak to you soon.